with the Eagles, I mean, with silver, yeah, you should definitely have some Eagles. Hopefully you've already bought some junk. I personally use silver as my bank account, and every month, once or twice a month, I buy silver.
Bill Holter discusses the importance of gold and silver as currency in the future, and how people need to understand the value of these precious metals. He notes that people will have to shift their perspective from valuing things in dollars to valuing them in terms of gold and silver. He also predicts that gold and silver will be priced based on what China and Russia say, making exchanges like COMEX LBMA and LME irrelevant.
You're going to see much, much higher purchasing power in gold and silver.
A lot of people are still very confused about the logistics of how things are going to play out. And I know it isn't really possible to know in advance about life when it's very complex.
No one knows the logistics. If I told you I knew the logistics, I'd be full of shit. So what's going to happen is going to be really bad. And I think there will be a period of time where barter is more prevalent than anything else. But you have to know what is the next currency, what are the currencies in Russia and China, what currencies are they going to use worldwide? And you also have to know what price they're going to mark gold up, because gold is going to be marked up. It will be priced at whatever China and Russia says it is, and COMEX, LBMA, LME, they're going to be irrelevant.
Bill Holter emphasizes that people will count their wealth in ounces of gold and silver rather than dollars. He notes that the value of the dollar is not the same as it was 100 years ago, while an ounce of gold is still the same ounce. He also predicts that there will be days where the dollar drops by 10-20% or more in a day, while gold remains a stable source of value.
We've been taught, I'm 60 years old, or a little over 60 years old, and we've been taught to value things in dollars, when in fact, it's the dollar that should be valued in terms of gold as opposed to gold valued in dollars. And I've said for years and years that once this thing comes to fruition, you will count your wealth in ounces, no longer in dollars. Because there's going to be days where after the initial reset, there will be days where you're going to see the dollar drop 10, 20% or more in a day's time versus gold. And it's not gold going up, because an ounce that was minted 100 years ago is still that same ounce. But the dollar that was printed 100 years ago is not the same dollar. It's only 1 penny.
That's one of the things that I think it's also helpful to try to get your head around, and people should probably try to do that, is to understand that when you have something real, whether that's food, land, or precious metals, you're going to have to decide whether you're willing to part with any of that in the future for something else that's real. People have asked, how's it going to work? How do you get rid of the precious metals? Or how do you sell them? You can't go into a store right now and plunk down. We've talked about that before, but you've shared with us in the past that in country after country around the world, when they get into real financial trouble, people just figure it out, and it reemerges in people's awareness that gold and silver are real money. And then at that point, people have to decide what they're willing to part with their gold and silver for. Can you talk to us about that mental shift that we need to be preparing ourselves for?
Yeah, that's going to be a huge shift, because there's not going to be exchanges. You can look on your computer or watch the TV or whatever and see a price of gold going across the bottom line or a price of silver going across the bottom line. Once it gets down to that, where what someone's willing to give for 1 ounce of gold or 1 ounce of silver or whatever, and that happens thousands or millions of times a day, that's the new market. The exchanges will, like I said, they will become completely irrelevant. They will fail, they won't deliver, and you won't even get a spot price.
Bill Holter explains how the market for gold and silver will work in the future, with exchanges becoming irrelevant and market clearing prices being decided between individuals. He notes that the true clearing price will be what an ounce of gold can purchase, such as a car or land, rather than the price in dollars.
The price basically is between, if I've got eggs and you've got silver, we got to decide, you and I, what percentage of an ounce of silver does a dozen eggs fetch? So it's going to be on an individual basis. And then you will eventually see true market clearing prices. And I firmly believe you're going to see much, much higher purchasing power in gold and silver. I'm not talking about gold going to $100,000 an ounce or silver to $10,000 an ounce or like that. I'm not talking about in dollars. I'm talking about what will an ounce of gold purchase? Will it purchase what it does today, $1,000 worth of goods? Will it purchase a car? Will it purchase some acreage of land? That's where the true clearing price is going to be decided, is going to be between individuals. And anybody who has the mindset of how am I going to get rid of gold, forget about it, because you're thinking about it completely wrong, because the rest of the world is going to be wondering, how do I get gold? And you already have it. So you're going to have people banging your door down, hopefully not literally. People are going to be coming to you wanting to get your gold for goods, for services, what have you. So it's to think or to worry about how am I going to turn it back into dollars or currency. That's dumb think.
Bill Holter focuses on gold and silver coins issued by the mint of the country where the owner lives. His discussion centers around the idea that owning government-issued coins is important because they are more easily verified as genuine than other types of gold and silver.
You've been a strong advocate in the past of people owning gold or silver coins of the realm, as you say, from the country that they live in, issued by the mint of the country that they live in. What's your thinking about that currently? Has it evolved in any way? If someone holds, for example, gold bars or silver rounds or something like that, do you feel that they should make their move while they still can to get into government-issued coins of the country that they live in?
Yeah, I've been talking about this for, 6 or 7 years. And let me ask you, you're a precious metals broker. If the system goes down and somebody comes to you with a gold bar, do you have the ability to test it?
Not personally.
So would you accept it?
Probably not.
Would you be likely to accept a gold eagle or a silver eagle versus a gold bar or a silver bar?
Yeah, bars in particular are probably the worst case on the other end of the spectrum from that standpoint, because they're so low a detail of the engraving, that sort of thing. And especially gold bars potentially can be fraudulently manufactured, that sort of thing. If somebody's trying to make a forgery, it's a lot easier to make a forgery of a bar. Exactly.
That's my point. And as far as holding U.S. coin, what has happened as far as the premium, meaning the most sought after, gold eagles, silver eagles? Look at what some of the discount dealers are doing now. I looked on AppMex just to see what they're doing. I think they're $14 over spot on junk. And by the way, we've not had any junk for almost 2 weeks. It's gone. So if you own junk, you have premium coin. Look at the premium on eagles at AppMex, $15, $16, $17. That's, in my opinion, way too high. But it's still a pretty high premium, $11, $12, whatever. And then in the gold area, gold eagles are what, 7-8% over spot versus other foreign sovereigns that are 2%. But look at the pre-1933 gold. I don't know if you've looked at it in the last maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You're looking at MS63 libs now over $2,500. You're looking at MS63 Saints, nearly $2,500. And the bids are strong there. And you're looking at eagles at what, 2120, 2130, something like that. So the premium finally is starting to move, and understand that the pre-33 coins and the junk pre or 1964 and earlier dimes, quarters, and halves, they haven't minted those in almost 60 years for the junk and 100 years for the pre-33 gold. They are the canaries in the coal mine. And the fact that you can't find junk anywhere, I challenge anybody to go out and find 10 or 20 bags of junk. You can't do it. It's all gone. And so that's for silver. And in gold, all of a sudden, just in the last 3 or 4 weeks, the premiums on the pre-1933 gold are starting to skyrocket. Those tell you that the demand is overwhelming the supply because there is no new supply of that.
Bill Holter discusses a strategy for buying precious metals. He focuses on how to buy metals when you have a large sum of money to invest. He also advises investing in sovereign minted coins such as eagles, and augmenting that with less expensive coins from other countries.
In gold, I would advise just do the eagles. What's the difference between a 5 or 6% premium and 7 or 8%? There's really no difference. So in gold, I think it's a no-brainer. You do eagles, and if you want some of the pre-33 gold, you do that. With the eagles, with silver, yeah, you should definitely have some eagles. Hopefully you've already bought some junk. I personally use silver as my bank account, and every month, once or twice a month, I buy silver. I don't keep money in the bank. I keep no more than 6 months worth of bills in the bank. And this last 2 weeks, I went out and I bought 100-ounce silver bars because I know I'm going to have to liquidate it for taxes. I know I've got other responsibilities coming up. And that'll be the first thing I liquidate. The last thing I liquidate will be the junk silver, which is probably, 80 or 85% of what I hold stored.